Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. I'll tell you what, this title, I already know what I'm going to title this. This is going to trigger people, but it's not entirely untrue. It's actually very true in many ways. And let me tell you, today's been crazy. You also remember when I said I was going to film in the morning? Well, it is almost, I don't know, what time is it, Turner? 8:30? 8 something. And I have not done anything yet for eBay. Well, that's not true. I haven't done this video and I haven't shipped yet. That's part of our story today. Got a lot to tell you. I could make this a 45-minute video, but I'm going to do my best to keep it short today as well. Let's go take a look. And I don't have a ton to ship out today, which ties in with a little bit with this story. We have some. The other thing is I didn't ship that out from yesterday, which I should have done, but I didn't. Maybe I'll show you how I ship a lantern as well. Maybe I'll put that at the end of the video. I gotta go turn this off back here really quick because it makes a ton of noise. One good thing, however, is that it's not that hot because it's later in here. But I gotta get going a little bit because I gotta get all this stuff shipped out. Most of it's got to go out tomorrow, so I'd like to get it done fairly early. So let's look at this, the title for a second. And a lot of people might look at this and think I'm bragging or something. This isn't. I figure if I'm going to say things on the show that, I don't know, I don't know if I hope some of the things I say influence people or not, or if I just hope that people find it interesting. And some people it fits with and some people it doesn't. So I did something. I've done something for quite a while that I said I've been trying to set up and really move into and do things a little bit different all the while. Look at this. How you doing? Yeah, the dog is sad because he hadn't been in here all day. Because I haven't been in here all day. Turner, my dad mowed the grass today, so Turner's moving everything back out to where he plays out in the grass. So, and the dog wants in for treats because I haven't been here. I have been working on all kinds of stuff all day. But because of that, over the last few days, Jess was in here shipping live shows, which is part of the conversation today. But we've got some cool sales. So let's jump into a couple really quick, and then we'll get into the rest of the story. All right, I shipped that lantern, so it's going to be out at the end of the video, though. I'm not going to put it in here. I love these things, y'all. I absolutely love these lights. And I saw one the other day, and I was like, do I want to do it? Do I want to go through the hassle? They don't go for a ton, but I love them. And I can't remember. I think it was $1. It might have been $2. I don't remember. But it was working, and I was like, sweet. And they turn on and off up here. And this one sold for $30 plus shipping pretty quickly. So I always talk about the same things that's near and dear to my heart. One of the things is I think you should really judge how you're doing by how much money is actually coming in for the time that you spend. That's different for different people because they have different needs. But it's really different for a lot of people who have different goals. And for me, you know, I'm not somebody who wants to take over the world and have a $2 million eBay store. And so what I've really tried to focus on is pushing up ROI on eBay. And one of the things that I wanted to do that, one way I wanted to do that with was to really, how do I say it? To focus on my live selling in such a way that enables me the time to still grow eBay. And so I did an experiment. I wanted to see, and my sales are a little bit down on eBay because I've spent a little bit more time, this is why we have Jess, with live selling, and it was the record buy. And I want to, because I had tons of messages, y'all. I don't share them all. I share the ones that I think are good topics of conversation that we can all learn from, including myself. But man, I had messages. I did a record buy, if you haven't been watching. I ended up spending $1,000 on the records. And it was not something a year ago I would have done. But because I want to incorporate the live selling in such a way that it's independent from the eBay selling, records for me are not my specialty. I don't know how to grade them. I don't know what's excellent, what's very good plus, or whatever. Although this process has helped me learn a little bit. And I hate listing them. You got to take lots of pictures. You got to make sure you have the right pressing, the right release, and all that stuff. That stuff makes my mind want to explode. And so in the past, I've just put stuff over there on auction, and it's like, yeah, you figure it out. Here's all the good pictures. You can figure it out. And we've done okay. But I get way less for records on eBay than most record people do. So this time, I was like, you know what? I'm going to document everything. I'm going to look at the numbers, the time I put in, the money that came back, and to see if it was worth it. So we're going to run those numbers, but let me pick another item first. I'm going out to this other shed to get something. And what the heck? What are you doing here still?
I forgot to melt the pine tar off this that for you.
I thought you were gone a long time ago.
I was, and then I got halfway home and realized.
Jess is part of the story. I'll tell you in a minute. But what? I came out here to get the Etch-a-Sketch. Is it already in the other shed? Probably. If you don't know where it is, it's probably in there. That actually kind of scared me. I was like, what is she doing here? She packaged up all these records today, which is part of the story. Someone out yesterday as well. I'm going to calculate her time. I've got to find this Etch-a-Sketch. I swear it was in a bin out there that we didn't take in here yet, but maybe I did take it in here. Let me look around, see if I can find it. All right, took a minute. This is one of those odd items. I was looking over there in toys, and then I remembered we had one out in that shed. I'm like, did we just list this? I couldn't remember. So I would have put it in toys in my mind, but apparently I put it in electronics because it's an electronic Etch-a-Sketch. Miriam, I gotta thank Miriam here because she is a repeat buyer and she used the coupon. So no comment, but Miriam, thank you. This is an Etch-a-Sketch animator. I think it was like 21. There's two listings on here, so $21 and change plus shipping on that one. And then this one I had already pulled right here, Summer Melody. And we're gonna get to our numbers here. Y'all, these sold for $49.95 plus shipping. So we are already in the profit with our massive Bath & Body Works Bed Bath & Beyond buy, which is super cool because we have tons of it left. And I guess that kind of leads me into this conversation because I've been talking about this for a while and y'all watch and whatever, and I don't know if you see it in action, but the records were doing it in action. So I'm a picker, right? I pick items. I usually don't do bulk buyouts. I haven't in the past. I do it from time to time when it's right and I know everything sells on eBay. But now that I'm doing this live selling, I'm going into garage sales and I'm trying to make connections. I'm trying to do just giant buyouts. And in the past I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to list a lot of stuff that I didn't like for low dollar. And that's really what you had to do. But now I've got Shop Commons. I can sell stuff off in bulk. I've got the live selling on the Div to Date, and we're selling off in bulk. So now I'm going into garage sales and I'm buying mass quantities. And this is not a promo for our stuff. This isn't even telling other people to do this. I'm going to hopefully through this process show you that no matter what in reselling, no matter what type of reselling you do, there are going to be parts and pieces for all types of different resellers. And I'm going to make that point when I show you these numbers here, which I'm going to do in just a second. I need a piece of paper I can write it on. But I did this the other day as well. I go in, like, for instance, with this one. This was, he was pulling these out, putting them on a little table at a garage sale. You'll see it on Picker soon. And he's like, $2 a piece. If you buy a bunch, give them to you for $1 a piece. And he had bags and bags of stuff. Little stuff, some sealed, some not sealed, some open, some used. But most of them weren't. And there was tons, not just gels, but sprays and little things. I'm like, $100, let me take everything. And because I knew that I could take the Christmas scents, even if they sell for $8 on eBay or whatever, and I could just offload them really quick. And I knew there was going to be winners in there. If I would have gone through and scanned all those and pulled out the winners like that one, it would have taken forever. It's perfectly fine to do that. A lot of you would do that. I would have done that for 20 years because I didn't want all the other stuff. There would have been a lot of borderline ones. There would have been all kinds of different things. And instead I took it all home, got it for a great deal. And my wife went through it and found all the winners. We've got hundreds and hundreds of dollars to list on eBay. And we've got tons of other stuff that are, in the $10 range or so, $15 range. We took the Christmas scents out. We're doing a Christmas show. And, we got rid of all the stuff that's been used and all that. But it was just a great option. So that's kind of my philosophy with these records. I would not have bought all those records from that guy if it wasn't for the model that we're using today. And I would have had no idea. I would have gone through one by... My whole garage sale day would have been blown, essentially. So I'm going to write these numbers down here on this sheet. But before I do, you may remember me talking about this. My goal in this process, because I don't know records, and I didn't even look through all these records. It was a spontaneous buy. Well, actually, it wasn't terribly spontaneous. It was at the beginning, and then it wasn't, and then we contacted them later. But regardless, I was hoping to make $1,000 net profit, $800 to $1,000 net profit on this, and was hoping to spend myself around 8 hours on it. And I'm kind of surprised by the results. Initial numbers here. Initial numbers, $1,000 in costs. We sold on Dibdit, we sold $1,200 on Monday. That was a 2-hour show. Tuesday, we sold $2,100. It was a 3-hour and a few minute show. Wednesday, because we sold most of it off here. On Wednesday, we had 1 tub left. Couldn't get through it all. And so I just went through that tub really quick and pulled some singles out that I thought would do okay on eBay. Most of them, when I looked them up, did okay on eBay. Some of them did really well. And then everything I thought, I don't want to sell $8, $10, $12 records, whatever. Put them in a big lot. And we made 4 lots and sold them off on Commons. And we made around $100 on those on Wednesday. Now, it didn't take very long. We did a lot on Commons, as you can see here. But, and then that $200 listing on eBay. So let's talk about hours really quick. Actually, I want to say something before we talk about hours. I posted that stuff all over social media, on Facebook especially, and stuff like that, because that kind of content with non-resellers does a little better. And, cool records and stuff like that. So I immediately was getting offers. I had an offer for $2,000. They said they would drive here and pick it up for $2,000. Now keep in mind, I hadn't even seen all this stuff. I was just showing bits and pieces of it and then showing everything. And somebody offered me $2,000. So I would have made $1,000, because that would have been a cash deal. I'd have made $1,000 profit in just the time it took me to go pick the records up to begin with, an hour, and then to meet the guy and, conversation or whatever. So I would have made $1,000 an hour on that deal. And so some people will, $1,000 down, that's great. But then some people see, like I had a message from somebody, those are worth $6,500 to $7,500. You're insane for selling them off live. I was like, okay. So now we've got these two things here. First of all, I don't know how they would know that necessarily. I don't think they were like claiming, I know this, but, giving an idea, because I hadn't even seen them all. I was just showing some of them. So there's no way they could know that. But I will say, their number was probably pretty close. When we look at the numbers, because just sometimes after we sell something that went nuts and we're like, why'd that go nuts? And she'll look at it and it's like, I just sold for $71. What the heck's that thing worth? And she'd look at it and she's like, that one's worth $130. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense, right? And so if you took our numbers and then, the average of the ones we looked up, it might be $6,000 to $7,000 worth on eBay. So that gives you a little perspective. There are people who would never in a million years sell live, and I get that. And in this case, they'll be like, look at how much more money you could make. But let me tell you, there's more to it. There's opportunity cost to it as well. And that's kind of the point I'm trying to make. There are so many different methods that are so effective. And I am choosing to use 2 different methods at the same time. So here we go. So let's do some math here. We've got 1,000 costs, so we're 200 up. I know there's fees and there's all that stuff. I'll get to it in a minute. So 200 up, 200 and let's see, 2,300 up, 2,400 up. Have not sold these yet. They are all listed, so everything is done. So what did I get to? 2,400. 2,400 plus 200 still on eBay, so 2,600. All right, I spent an hour picking them up. I spent an hour on promoting them. I was promoting, and that's what makes the difference for a lot of people, is they don't have social media, and I could push this show. But I'm telling you right now, if Joe Schmo brought this record show over to Dibdit, we would have promoted it, and they would have done fine. Not this good, but they would have done good. I have zero doubt. I've seen those shows go over there when they bring great stuff, and that's what happens. It maybe make 15 to 20% less than I was making. Maybe 20, 25 max, but still the numbers still work out to good value. So 2 hours right there. The first show was 2 hours. The second show is just a tick over 3 hours. And so we're looking at 6, 7 hours. I mean, that's pretty close. It may be just a tiny bit more. I didn't promo for an hour, so I'm going to say 7 hours total. Jess worked those shows with me and did a little prep. Not much, but a little bit. So we're going to say that she is in at 6, we'll say 5 hours because of the shows. She spent 5 hours shipping all of it, and it's all done. So 10 hours for her. And I'm not going to tell you what I pay her, but you can kind of guess. I mean, let's just say I pay her $20 an hour. And so that means that she's in it for 10 hours. That means she's got $200. I pay her $200. Now, for me, I have an advantage because I'm selling it on my own marketplace, which I'm selling at cheaper fees. However, it's different than eBay. So I only pay fees. The numbers I showed you right here were the sales numbers. This is not including shipping. This is not when somebody shows you your 90-day eBay total where all the money that comes to you, all the eBay shipping stuff is included. Those were the sale numbers only. We were charging $5.99 for the first record and $1.50 for every record after that. And so many people bought multiples that we built in cost to pay for record boxes, which the record boxes are all gone out of here. These were the bulk lots. There was a lot of people bought singles, doubles, triples, whatever. And those are all gone. My dad picked them up this morning. But I'm not paying the fee on the shipping costs. And there's a little bit extra coming in on these orders to pay for those boxes. So my expenses for boxes are covered by that. So I don't even have to take that off of this. I pay 5% fees over there. Other folks are paying 10%, but I pay 5% fees, but 2.9% on the entire transaction. So let's just throw out the number of 8% for these. So 8% is basically what I'm paying, give or take a little bit. That's $288 is all we're looking at here. So if you take all those numbers together, that means that if you minus, well, let's look at it. You minus the cost of goods, you minus how much I paid Jess, you minus how much in fees, and then you have a total of $2,100, give or take a little. And I worked 7 hours. 7 hours. Could I have sold all those records for $6,500, $7,500? Yeah. I would have paid far more in fees. Far more in fees. I would have spent way more time on those records. I think I had like 6 or 8 records that I listed there for $200. They were pretty decent. Well, maybe more than that, 10. And I was out there for a good bit. And then I had to list them, right? And then I'll have to ship them independently. Then I'll have to store them and all that. So for me, in a category that's not my expertise, I do this with comics. I do this all the time with comics now. It's really, really worth it. So, and I get the fact, people say, well, you've got a following. I get that. I'm not discounting that at all. I'm just making the point that there are different models that work for different people. I could certainly see if I was a record guy and came across that lot, I'm not selling that stuff live. No way. I know what the heck I'm doing. I can get the speed down. I know who printed it, what copy it is, what are the, what do they call them, hypester. I know all that stuff. I would do it because that person's going to make high dollar on that stuff where I don't get as high a dollar. And I'm paying way higher fees. And so it's like, do I want to just plow through this, or do I want to preserve my time, the opportunity cost for listing and doing the things that I do get good money on, that I do know and I can do quickly? So that is not to promote live selling. I've said it before, I'll say it again. For 95% of you watching this thing, you should never live sell. Never. I'm probably one of the few creators out there who will tell you that straight up. Well, there are plenty of creators who would tell you that who don't live sell at all. But I do live sell, and I still tell people it's not the best decision for them. But what I am saying is you can fit into these things. You could have been that guy that saw the opportunity and bought it like I did and sold it off for $2,000 to the right person, because you can find the right people. They're not that hard to find. You don't need social media to find them. You could go on groups and say, this is what I got. You're going to get people. You got Facebook, you got whatever. You could be that person who made the quick buck. You could be the person who bought it for $2,000 from the secondary guy because it's out there and findable, and then go out there and sell it. Or you could be the person who bought them from me and is going to double up their money. And the folks that really know what they're doing. There's so many different ways to do this. So I'm saying all this just to say, find your spot, find what you're comfortable with, find your lane, stay in it, and plow through it and do it your way. And y'all, let me tell you, this just happens to be my way. And that's why thank y'all for watching me, and thank y'all for watching me do things my way, even though they might not be yours. Took a minute to find this one, but I finally did. This one I bought this at a flea market, and I paid $5 for it, and I just didn't know because the condition. You see right here, and right here, I'm like, do I really want to get that? But I did, and I'm glad I did, because it ended up selling for $27.96 plus shipping. All right, I need to put that hat bin up, but I'm going to grab something from back here. Let me say one more thing about this. You know, you hear me say things like the value in niche down selling, and then I'm not a niche seller. And people see that as hypocritical, I guess, which is ridiculous. Look, I see the value in different methods for different people. I'm not a niche down seller. I'm not an expert. I would get bored selling one item all over, you know, over and over and over again. But that doesn't mean I can't see the value in it. I see people all the time who do stuff like that, and they get so much better value because they know exactly what they're doing. They streamline their processes. They streamline their picking, their sourcing, all that stuff. And so for me, I'm okay being the middleman for those record people who know what the heck they're doing. And there were some collectors in there too, buying stuff for themselves. Not as many as there were, I think, resellers, but there certainly were some. I knew some of them. So I just don't like the idea that people pigeonhole things. You know, I've said before, I just said it earlier this show, 95% of resellers should not live sell. You're going to struggle for different reasons. That's just the fact of the matter. But that doesn't mean we need to look at somebody else's model and say you're an idiot because you could have got $6,500 for those records. Yeah, I could have paid twice as much in fees, and I could have spent literally hundreds of hours doing it. There's opportunity cost to that stuff too. Weigh these things out. Find what you love. Do what you love. Do what you're good at. It will make you more money. It'll make you happy as well. Of course, do what you need to. That's always a priority for sure. I think we had 2 viewer sales. One I already mentioned. This one is a viewer sale to Ronnie. Treasures and Wishes, I think is your name. If I screwed that up, I'm sorry. But you bought a bunch of these, and we will give you some a refund in shipping. But these are the ET pins. I'm going to find them not on camera. It takes too long. Remember when I said I'd be retired before I sell these all? Social Security? I think I'm wrong. I think I might be dead. Good night. This is going to take, we had so many, y'all, but this is very cool. So thank you for the purchase. $26. And how much is it? $26.35. I think they used a little discount, and I'll give them a shipping discount. $26.35 plus shipping. ET earrings. ET and drag. That's what I call it. I don't know what it is with the wig. Gertie necklace. ET pendant necklace. And the orange flower one. So super cool. That's not all we have. We have tons. We have pins over there as well, but that's what he got. So thank you very much for that. It'll be on its way. All right, y'all. This is, I'll tell you what, clothes have been kind of slow for me lately. I gotta be honest, which is disappointing, but I kind of get it, especially long sleeves. It's a racing jersey type thing. And it's for $17.05 plus shipping. Let me know out there, how are clothes doing for you? Now, keep in mind, I'm just an eBay seller at this, well, a couple places, but I don't do Posh and I don't do all that, which is fine with me. It's kind of where I want to be. I don't want to be a clothing seller, but I want to sell clothes. So I'd like them to move a little bit. I got to readjust some of my listings, I think. You know, I say that and then I look up at the next one and I got to go back in. Why don't I look in advance? And go get a t-shirt. Didn't sell for a bunch. It did go off on my 20% off clearance though. But man, there were days in here, and we haven't listed a ton of clothing lately either. I guess I should say it's a lot of old stock in there. And I've got a lot of sweaters, jackets, and whatever. But there were days, and there will be in the future too, where I would have 5 or 6 pieces of clothing coming off of here in a day's worth of sales. Today I think we'll have 2, maybe 3. All right, I picked up a couple of buddies in there. It's getting late, getting towards your bedtime, isn't it? Santa Cruz t-shirt, $11.97 plus shipping on that one. And I guess it's time to get you some treats, huh? You missed me in here today, didn't you? Not a category I delve into too much, but I do from time to time. I certainly do when it's sterling, but this wasn't sterling. And that's the Oneida, if y'all want to yell at me for pronouncing it wrong, flatware. And this one, I only look at this when, well, I'll look at it all the time, I guess, but the prices have to be right at a sale before I start digging through and trying to find patterns and stuff, and I don't really know it. But that right there was super cheap. I bought a whole tray for $5, and it sold on Bonanza, $44.50 plus shipping. You know, those of us who've been doing this a long time, sometimes you know, even if you've never seen an item before, you've never sold it before, there may be no comps, you just know it's got value. Some value, and you pick it up if the price is right. And this is one of those items right here. University of Alabama alumni. This sucker is heavy. And I'm like, well, that's got to be worth money. No doubt. I mean, this thing, how much does this thing weigh? And I don't even remember what I paid for it, to be honest with you. But it sold. 1 pound, 5 ounces. $24 plus shipping. All right, y'all, we have a substitute for Reagan. Reagan's busy in the summer, Turner's busy, so we're going to flip-flop them back and forth. And you look very tan. You been out at the lake or something? Playing ball? You got a game tomorrow night. Wish him luck. All right, who you thanking?
Wendy for buying a
CWP bag. CWP bag. All right. Thank you very much, Wendy. Do you know Reagan's line?
Don't forget to get your sticker.
You gotta show the sticker. You gotta hold it up. There you go.
Don't forget to get your sticker at CommonwealthPicker.com.
And by the way, in case you're asking, no, I don't pay my dad. And he comes and picks this up and he mows my grass. That does not mean I treat my dad poorly. I get a little tired of hearing that, but you know what? He's a great guy and he helps out so much. He doesn't ask much. Doesn't ask anything. But at any rate, I'll stop with that. I had well, no, I won't. I'll tell you what. I don't mention this stuff very much, but today was a little bit crazy. There's a lot of people coming at me that I kind of know, I don't know, and I do know. And I was like, man, this is crazy stuff. And a lot of it has to do with those live selling sites over there. That's why I say things like 95% of people should not live sell. Because they see, like, how do I say this? Live selling is not for people who want to take their cast-offs that they don't want to list on eBay and just, that's all they're going to do is sell those live over there. There's a part for that, I suppose, but you got to build that thing to do that kind of thing. And it's just not for a whole lot of people. There's a lot of people it is for, and they're able to source massive quantities. And so you've never heard me say, go live sell. Even though lots of people say that I say that. The people that watch this know that. And there's a lot of things that go in. You know, we went on a limb to start these marketplaces. And I told the guys when we did it, I said, this stuff will come. These issues will come, and they'll come to us, and we'll turn into the bad guys. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people out there when things go wrong, they want to point fingers, they want to cast blame. We all do it. We do it to eBay. I do it to eBay. It's just human nature, and you put your name on something, and you start to get quite a bit of stuff that's just utter nonsense because they don't understand. I mean, look, I feel like I know some of you, and I feel like some of you feel like you know me. I don't know why I'm going into this today, but it was a little bit of a rough day. I'm not whining. I knew this stuff was coming. And as you grow, you get more of it, and those marketplaces are growing over there. So I just wanted to say that, you know, be careful. You know, treat people kind the best you can, and know that nothing's ever going to be perfect. So I'll just shut up. My wife also had a rough day today. I'm not going to go into that. But I think I'm going to end here, which is very few sales, but I don't care. Because I can, and I'm going to ship this out, and we'll get the rest out tomorrow. So that intimate obviously went to a viewer. By the way, some awesome things happened. Oh, I should say this too. The Scotty Cameron Prutter we've been promoting for the $1 buy, it went to Fines, who's been over there on those marketplaces for a long time. A lot of times when we do this stuff, somebody just comes in, we never heard of them before, and they get it, and that's fine too, because we try to keep it fair. But it's nice that somebody who's been over there for a while got it. Fines. Thank you, and congratulations on your $1 Scotty Cameron putter that you got on DipDipSports.com. And thank you also to Josh, who got the Enema Man. And if it's not too much trouble, could I get you to sign it for me? Sure, I'll do that. My morning routine is to have your videos playing while I'm packing the day's orders. That's awesome. Hope you've had a lot of sales last week because I had some long videos. This will go great on the shelf above the monitor. Thank you for all the information and the encouragement you put out into the world, Josh. Josh, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I hope you get things moving for you. I'll see how hot it is here. These dogs are just... Whew, I am too. I can't wait to go turn that AC on and ship. That's part of the reason I'm going to just do these that have to go out tomorrow. So we're going to do that. Let me mention one more thing really quick. People ask me all the time, and I'm getting more and more of it. They know I do, you know, I work with American Bubble Boy. There is no link on the bubble wrap. There is no affiliate link that gets you 5% off, but you can use that link. I do get a little kickback. I think I get do I get $1 or $2? Anyway, that's there. And then again, of course, the My Go-To tape, which I believe is back in stock. 3-inch tape is back in stock. That's my favorite. They always have 2-inch, and you can use a code Commonwealth, for that. Anyway, I'm shilling now. Hey y'all, I had to come back down here because I totally forgot to pull an item and ship it. This has been listed forever. It's a decorative golf flag. Got a couple of putters. It's got a guy putting in a putt and some old knickers. Anyway, I relisted this. It's been listed forever. Can't sell ever on discount or whatever. So I just redid the whole listing, put out there super cheap, $7.95 plus shipping, and guess what? It sold. All right, so I usually, when I'm doing lanterns, I like to put the globe in a separate box, and then I like to ship this. So you can take the top off, but it doesn't really make it any smaller. And this I don't like to have in there because it's banging all over the place. I like to do this separate and then put padding and then put it up against it and wrap it around. So, I mean, it's nothing amazing, but you got to make sure, if you've never done these, make sure there's no fuel in here at all. Make sure that's out of there. And there was a little bit in this, so we did that. And so what I'm going to do here, I've already got this in bubble paper and then bubble. These things break fairly easily, and then it'll go in its own separate box, and then this will go in a bigger box. Now this one happens, not surprisingly, this happens from time to time. I haven't sold a lantern in a while. I usually like the red ones, the 200As. You can look underneath it and get the year. This is 67. And these oftentimes will end up going somewhere outside the United States. This one's probably, I don't have the final destination because it's going through a shipping company. Probably is going to end up in East Asia is my guess. So I'm gonna package this. I usually keep this on. You can take it off. I keep this on because it's the same width as down there. That'll go in a separate box, and then they'll go in a bigger box because this thing's got a long way to travel. All right, here's the final package. I was able to get this. It's not a work of art here, but it's not bad. I was able to get it under a cubic foot, and the globe is right over here. No, I think it's right here. And it's in a separate box, and this thing is right here. I did not put the other one in the separate box. I left it and I padded, I put extra cardboard, so essentially it's double boxed, but only because it's surrounded. And I got this thing down, like I said, under a cubic foot, which is a big deal. It would have been $9 more if it was 1 more inch. So it's worth taking the time to make sure it's right. And if you can make sure it's right, to also get it a little bit smaller, usually saves you some money. Thank y'all for putting up with me, and I hope you get the right picture. And I really do encourage people to find your lane, to figure out what it is you like to do, and stop being so critical of people that choose a different lane. It's stupid. Choose your lane, do what you want to do, and crush it, and enjoy your life as you're going through it. Thank you so much for joining us, and I can't wait to see you next time.